Healing crystals. Am I right? The idea that a rock can somehow provide benefit to your life is not a new one, but it is an interesting one. So to silence the skeptic in me, because he's a very vocal guy, I'm going to be conducting tests on a range of healing crystals to find out what are they, where do they come from, when did this all start, and finally, do they work? Now, I'm no gynecologist, I'm no geologist, but as far as I'm aware, crystals just look cool. There's no other magic forces going on with them. But I want to be more open-minded. I want to truly learn what people believe is going on. To find that out, I first had to speak to an expert in this field, which led me all the way to Crystal Clarity to speak with Brooke, the store owner and said expert in this field. She's also the only person who said she's willing to help me with this video. Thank you, Brooke. And after my talk with her, I think I've got my start into uncovering this world. I've chosen a range of tumblestones that I believe will act as good crystals for this experiment. Green aventurine, which provides the user with joy, luck, and good fortune. That is what I'm going to be testing right now. But Doc, how do you test luck and good fortune? Gambling. Guys, gamble responsibly, and if you feel you or someone you know is developing an addiction, please seek out support. Gambling. I bought myself some scratchies. These three will act as my control. I got someone else to choose them for me, and I will scratch these off without my good luck crystal to see if I get lucky. Whereas these three I specifically chose while wearing my good luck crystal. Additionally, I will also scratch them off while wearing my good luck crystal. Then, how any good experiment goes, we will compare the results. I feel it's probably important to, as any good experiment would go, state a hypothesis. If I scratch these scratchies using this crystal, then the results will be similar to if I scratch them without it. Is that too pessimistic? If I scratch these scratchies using this healing crystal, then the results will be much luckier compared to if I didn't use it. I need a coin. Ow. While I'm grabbing a coin, I feel like it's important to talk about something I didn't even realize was an issue. Does placement matter?
Yes, especially when it comes to your hands. So your right is your giving hand. So it's the energy that you're putting out into the universe, into your work environment or home, and your left is receiving. So it's what you want to call in to your life, to your auric field.
Hence, I'm wearing it on my left hand because I want to call in good luck and fortune. I grabbed myself a coin. I always found it kind of counterintuitive to use money to try to win money, but I guess you do have to spend money to make money. Little financial advice for you. Anyway, I scratched the control set of scratchies without the crystal, and okay. The results weren't quite what I was expecting. The first scratchy I scratched won. 34. I got a winning number. $10. And I mean, that's from the $2 ticket. I was stoked. And that was the first ticket of the control. At this point, my expectation for the crystal tickets were through the roof. So I scratched the second scratchy of the control and won.
6. Oh,
6. Twice.
31.
31. Yeah, 2 numbers on this one were winning numbers. Granted, it was only $2 and $3, but that's still a total of $15 I've won, which is enough to pay for not only the control set, but all 6 tickets, with money left over. The crystal tickets really needed to start pulling their weight, or I was going to be pissed. So I scratched the final scratchy of the control, and it was nothing. But I mean, that's not terrible. So it spent $6 and made $15, so if you can do that maths, that's a profit. Then it was time to strap on my crystal and also try another thing that I talked about with Brooke. Affirmations.
Affirmations, yeah.
How does that play a role?
A lot of crystals come with their own affirmations. However, when you know the energy of the crystal, you can kind of make your own affirmations. For example, rose quartz is obviously used for self-love. So you would just make, I love myself.
Yeah.
You know, a simple affirmation is that So every time you put your rose quartz bracelet on or you work with rose quartz in the home, it's an act of self-love.
Okay.
Affirmations are definitely powerful. Words are power. You have to be very careful how you use them.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And it doesn't really matter when you use affirmations? You can just say it whenever?
No, you can use them all day, every day, however you like.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So I thought I'd try some affirmations with you here. Money flows to me easily. You feel rich already? Okay, good. Then I was trying to brush some of the luck onto the scratchies and no, that's probably not a great sign. I'll save you the time and let you know that the first scratchy was a bust, but the second scratchy, 33,
21.
21. For this scratchy, I profited $3. Meaning as long as I got over $10 on this scratchy, I would be in the clear. So I scratched the final scratchy. The affirmations going crazy in my head. And then I saw it. The vision of me winning $1 billion. I would use that money to put a down payment on one house. I would donate some of it, but only to make an Instagram story about doing so. I would be able to live freely. But then I realized something. If I won $1 billion, that would make me a billionaire. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. It wouldn't make any sense. How could I possibly be a billionaire? My parents didn't own an emerald farm, nor invest an absurd amount of money into my garage business. I realized in that moment, there really is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. So I'd be happy with 900 million. But never mind any of that, because I won nothing. Zilch, jack, zero, naught, aught, o, zip, nil. Which means of those 3 tickets, I lost $1. There goes my dreams of being the first ethical billionaire. Luckily, the other tickets did make up for it, and I did technically profit $8. But that won't get me a down payment on a house. That can't even get me a burger anymore. So what happened? Why did I get luckier on the tickets I didn't use the crystal for compared to the ones I did? Well, I was also curious about that. Hence, I'm making a YouTube video. So I think that's a decent enough segue into... Never underestimate what some people will believe. There are people out there that will actively avoid you purely because you were born in March. To be completely fair, who am I to judge? Maybe avoiding someone because they're a Pisces isn't such a bad thing. Speaking seriously, as long as you're being fun about it and not hurting anyone in the process, I don't see an issue with believing whatever you want. But I am skeptical. Healing crystals are not new. They're relatively new in our westernized capitalistic society we live in, but the idea of crystals having healing properties goes as far back as ancient Egypt, where they would use amulets for healing and protection, much like today. Additionally, it was common practice to place amulets on the deceased, or wrap them up with the mummies, oftentimes using larger amulets than the ones they would wear day to day, to provide afterlife benefits, those being to protect and guide people in the afterlife. Honestly, could someone just lay a massive crystal on me when I'm done? I'm just thinking it's better to be safe than sorry. And the ancient Egyptians weren't the only ones to be doing this. Ancient Greeks attributed a lot to the world of healing crystals. Even the word crystal comes from the Greek word meaning ice, as they thought quartz was ice that had frozen so deeply it would remain solid. Okay, they weren't always right. The word amethyst means not drunken, as it was worn to prevent both drunkenness and hangovers. I would love to see how someone figured that one out. Oh, I feel terrible. Well, I'm fine. Of course you're fine. You barely had any mead last night. No, it's because I had this with me. What in the name of Zeus does that do? It makes it so you don't get hungover the next day. Is that so? That is so. And I'll give you one for 5 drachma. You damn Gytheros. No one would ever fall for that. I'll take one. Socrates! And that's how he was such a good philosopher, because he was never hungover. It probably would have gone something like that. Greek soldiers would rub hematite on themselves because they thought it would make them invulnerable. Greek sailors would wear a variety of amulets to keep them safe at sea. China, Mexico, South America, New Zealand, all over the world, there were people using crystals because they believed it had healing properties. So it's not that crazy to say that maybe there was something to it. And people have tried to present evidence of what's going on. Let's go through some examples. 1. Metaphysical energy. This is an overly encompassing idea. And no, I'm not talking about that meta, because then we'd be talking about crystals that make you an incel chud. Metaphysical energy is non-physical energy that still affects you. So essentially, magic. I don't really like this idea as much as the next one, because it feels like a scapegoat to say it works through things you can't see nor prove. Because you can't say I'm wrong. You can't see the thing I said you can't see. Proved my point. It goes by many names. Spiritual energy, universal energy, life force, chi, prana, vital energy, subtle energy, cosmic energy, mystical energy, transcendental power. However, it's also heavily linked to the next idea of chakra. So there's the idea of chakras, the 7 centers of spiritual power in the human body. And some believe that crystals are just used to enhance chakra alignment. So once again, it's easy to say that because you can't really prove nor disprove that. Maybe you'll be more interested in the piezoelectric effect. This is something with some evidence. When a voltage is applied to certain crystals, it oscillates, vibrates at a very constant rate. This allows quartz watches to stay in time. However, the opposite is also true. When these crystals are oscillating, they also output some voltage. So you take that idea and say, yes, some crystals can output energy, which some use as the basis for the previous ideas, meaning you can justify saying they emit energy because they can.
So that's the first theory. All of it is real and it works through metaphysical energy, aligning your chakra, and we know that it does emit energy because of the piezoelectric effect, meaning the issues with the test could be broken down to I didn't believe hard enough. As a matter of fact, I even asked the expert herself, Brooke, how they work. And she did somewhat reiterate what I just talked about. But not only that, she also brings up an interesting argument regarding my next theory. Before that, let's continue on to
rainbow fluoride, which promises mental enhancement, self-discipline, and clarity.
Any idea what I'm about to do? I was a terrible studier at school, and that carried on to most extracurricular activities. I spent, I think, like half a term learning piano, then I stopped. My favorite part was leaving class a little bit early to go learn piano, but that sometimes meant missing part of my lunch to be learning piano. I didn't like that. So using this crystal, I'm giving myself count them, 1 hour to learn something on piano. A task I would usually struggle with, but with my mental being enhanced, my self being disciplined, and my clarity through the roof, I believe this task will be easy.
I asked my friend who is a pianist to recommend a song for me to learn within an hour. And he recommended, I'm not gonna even try to pronounce that, but I'm gonna try to play it.
I started off kind of okay. I don't think my posture could make me look any more interested than what I was looking at. But hey, that's probably just the crystal providing me with that clarity it promised.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not very good at having to do something for a decent amount of time unless I really want to do it. I know I'm in the majority of people who feel that way, hence I'm a YouTuber. Part of me was hoping the crystal would help with that, but yeah, I don't think it did much for me here. Watching myself do this while editing was really funny, because I didn't realize how often I would just not be playing the song I was practicing. Now that might be a little dramatic. I wouldn't only not be playing the song I was supposed to, I would also sometimes just not be playing the piano.
Thanks for coming out tonight. Get to watch me. I need both hands. But overall, I did try to learn it, and the hour was up. Let's see how much I learned. That's all I got. So yeah, listen, maybe some of you out there are very easily impressed, and you might say, that's not terrible. And yeah, it wouldn't be that bad if I had never seen a piano before, but I'm familiar enough where I feel like I should have learnt a bit more than 15 seconds of a song in an hour. I mean, there was a time that I could read sheet music a bit. How far I've fallen. I'm kind of a new gen Icarus.
Unfortunately, I think I'm also going to have to give this test a fail. I think something may be wrong here, which is why I want to discuss... I feel like I skipped over this a bit. There's a concept in the crystal world called activation that when researching I heard a lot about, which is why I went to discuss it with the expert herself.
I've heard the term activation. How does that work?
Yes, I mean, it depends on who you talk to. I'm a big believer on everything is intention based. So once you've purchased that crystal with the intention, for example, if you're walking around the shop and you're like, okay, I need protection. So you pick up the protection crystal, you do the whole process of going to the counter, paying for it, and the whole time in your mind, you're like, I'm buying this crystal for protection. So for me, I feel like the activation has already started. Okay. Some people say that you have to charge them under the full moon to receive full activation, or perhaps unlock them with a selenite wand and things like that. But I believe that everything is intention based. So once you've already held that crystal and you know what you're using it for, it's already activated and it's ready to go. So when you're wearing crystals or working with them or even having them in your home, they can absorb a lot of energy. So people's energy, especially say if you have it somewhere in the home and you know there's been a few arguments or things like that, it's absorbing all of that energy. By charging it under the full moon, you're going to kind of clear all of that stagnant energy and bring it back to its original frequency.
So in my understanding of what she was saying, my intention was enough to activate the crystals. However, there's an argument there that I didn't charge them. I only wore them while conducting the test, which means they probably didn't get that much time to absorb any form of energy. And they probably caught on to the fact that I'm an influencer, so exclusively bad vibes.
There's also another concept that she brought up during the interview.
So once you've purchased those, I would suggest that you take them home and you smudge them either with Palo Santo or white sage, just to clear off any other stagnant energy that may have been sat on that crystal, because obviously when you're buying it from a shop, you know, lots of people touch crystals and things like that. So smudging them.
Then while purchasing the crystals, I did get her to clarify how to do it, which involved burning white sage, then allowing the smoke to clear the crystal of any bad energy. I didn't do that. My interpretation of what she said is that intention was the biggest contributing factor. What I didn't consider is that now that the tests have been failing, I'm providing a very easy explanation to why they are. But I won't give up. Those are the easy tests out of the way. It's time to try something harder.
Strength, patience, determination.
These are the three aspects that the Tiger Eye provides. Coincidentally, also the three characteristics I align myself with. Hence, I will be performing an act of pure strength, patience, and determination. An act passed down through martial arts over centuries. Breaking a wooden board with my bare hand. Or should I say my tiger hand. I chose the highest quality boards for this experiment, and boy was I feeling confident. It's probably all that determination. I'd never done this before, so I gave myself 3 levels. Level 1, I'm fairly confident I can break. Level 2, I think with the right determination, I could break it. And level 3 is, a little unrealistic. After setting up the board, I decided to do a control swing on level 1, which is why I cut the board into 2. And here's what was going through my head during the test hit.
1. I've got a trip coming up over the next couple of days and I would really like to not be injured for it, so I should probably try to not break my hand. 2. Why didn't I put sunscreen on when the UV was 13 that day? 3. Is the femur really the hardest bone in the body? And how could I test that? And finally, 4. Are these tables gonna be sturdy enough? Nah, I can't use these tables. Damn.
Yeah, so no. The tables would not be sturdy enough for a proper swing.
This really threw a wrench in my plan because A, I need to do something now to test this crystal, and B, I already bought the wood for this video, so I need to somehow include it, otherwise I can't write it off as a business expense.
Also, FYI, there's a reason people use concrete bricks when breaking a board. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those laying around, so I quickly had to come up with a backup plan.
Skipping.
I actually started on TikTok skipping, little law drop for you. So I thought, what better way to test our strength, patience, and determination then a quick comparison of double unders.
If you're unfamiliar with what a double under is, it's in the name. 1 jump, 2 skipping rope rotations. So once again, I need to perform the control. So let's chuck a timer up and also slap that on there. And 28.
Not great, but it gives the tiger eye a chance to prove itself. After putting on the crystal, determination flowing through my bones. Ten.
Yeah, I didn't say any affirmations, so let's try that. I am strong. I am determined. I will beat 28.
Alright, affirmations said. Look how patient I'm being. 2.
Do you know what the issue might be? I think I might be wearing it on the wrong hand.
Oh, you're so right. Because I'm wearing it on my right hand, meaning I'm trying to exert strength, determination, and patience. When in reality, I should be trying to receive those characteristics. Nadoy. Anyway, after switching it to my left hand, my final chance.
I got 11.
Theory 2! You probably saw this coming. If you're at all unfamiliar with what the placebo effect is, it's any improvement of illness or reduction of subjective symptoms that result from interventions possessing no known physical effects. To put it simply, showing improvements simply because you think you should be improving. So for example, something lacking strong concrete evidence for working, still improving something you wanted to improve. I was also under the false understanding that placebo could work in a negative way, like when people feel drunk when served non-alcoholic beverages, or react with side effects when given a sugar pill when they're told they could be experiencing some side effects. Turns out that's actually the nocebo effect. Cool, so given what we know, crystals could just be a placebo. And luckily, in 1999, some researchers already did the work for me. They conducted an experiment to compare the power of crystals compared with that of a placebo.
They had 80 volunteers meditate with either a quartz crystal or a placebo stone, which were visually indistinguishable. Many of the placebo participants reported feeling the crystal's effects. But the issue I see with this study is even if you meditate without a crystal, you're gonna feel pretty zen.
Look, no crystal, crystal. Continuing with the idea that it's completely psychological, there's the idea of confirmation bias. Let's use the green aventurine for example. If I go about my day wearing this on my left hand, as we learnt, and I see a coin on the street, much like the ones I used to scratch the scratchies, I would be far more perceptive to the idea that that was a very lucky day compared to if I wasn't having luck on the mind and I just saw a coin on the road. When you want a practice to be true, you will see more things that back up that desire. So I also did bring up that theory to Brooke, and she had some interesting thoughts on it.
I'm often then led to ask, well, what is placebo? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it an energy frequency that you've then put out that's making you question the greater good or question your higher power? So you've already opened your mind to that possibility, and that's where everything can really start to unfold and come into alignment, because often we limit ourselves within our beliefs, and it all starts from the mind. It's almost like it's a physical tool that allows you to be more open-minded and receptive to receiving everything that you want.
I mean, sure. She is describing the placebo effect, but suggesting placebo itself might work through metaphysical energy, which once again, you can't prove nor disprove that. So checkmate. Anyway, that's theory 2. As the Cranberries once said, it's in your head. It's purely a result of psychological symptoms, nothing else. While that directly contradicts theory 1, I have been cooking up a third theory that I believe ties all of this together. But for now, before the next crystal, I need some help. Contrary to what some people believe, I am not an established creator. And while I've really appreciated everyone's support over the past year, there's a very quick thing that you can do to help more people see this video, and that's hyping it. If you're watching this in the first week of it being uploaded on mobile, you're able to hype it up to 3 times. And I was able to get to number 2 on the hype list, which was super helpful. So thank you. But let's aim for number 1, baby. Enough of that. Onto Shungite. This one confused me. Shungite once again offers clarity. Man, I'm going to be somewhat clarified by the end of this video. But it also offers protection and EMF. What? It offers electromagnetic fields? Did Michael Faraday bling up this crystal? I didn't think so. Looking into it more, Shungite is apparently meant to protect you from EMF radiation. I didn't think EMF exposure was a big deal, but I guess too much of anything can be bad. I didn't think I needed to be wearing something to protect me from it. But where my mind also goes when I hear EMF is haunted.
That's the one. Smart. We're working along, and we look up, and there it is. That's that old barn.
Yeah, looking around me, there's not much haunted anything. So, if you've ever played Phasmophobia before, you know that you use an EMF reader to try to identify ghosts, as well as every other media that includes ghosts. So I've chosen to venture to the most scary, decrepit place in existence. The metaverse.
Wow.
Coupled with my gemstone, I'm going to try to complete 1 round of solo VR Phasmophobia. If you don't know what Phasmophobia is, it's a ghost hunting game that can be played in VR. And if you've ever played it in VR, you can know how f***ing terrifying it can be. Let's catch this ghost. I'm gonna skip the first round and the second and the third because technical difficulties kept coming up.
EMF. Oh.
Then finally the 4th round, I told myself I have 1 round to identify this ghost correctly and not die in the process. Hopefully this crystal will protect me. So using my knowledge of the game from about 5 years ago, I had to use the EMF reader to figure out which room had the most ghostly activity in it. Once I identify the correct room, I can then go through different tests, checking them off in the journal to narrow it down to 1 ghost. And I have to do all of that without the ghost killing me. Step 1, find the room. I promise I would never do this unless a ghost was causing chaos, but I had to investigate the bathrooms.
Okay, no one in here? Everything okay?
Luckily, there was no pervert ghost in the bathrooms. There was only 1 person in the women's bathroom, and that was me. That sounds really bad. Then going through all the rooms in this hallway, there it was. The EMF reader was going off. Given it was only a little bit, maybe the crystal was doing its job after all.
Oh! I'm out here.
It's a bit hard to see, but I noticed my breath, which from memory meant freezing temperatures. Once I was done checking all the rooms, I assumed it was in fact the hallway that was haunted.
Can it just be the hallway? Oh.
So I plopped down the ghost writing book and got out of there. Returning back to my van, I grabbed my little spirit box and my UV light. Also, that timer being 0 now meant that the ghost could kill me. Anyway, I go back in to check the ghost writing and...
Oh! No! No! No!
So the ghost was hunting me then, yet I didn't die. Suspicious? Kind of, yeah.
I did confirm what allows you to survive a ghost hunt, and in the game it functions through a line of sight, meaning if the ghost can see you while hunting, it will kill you. But I didn't leave the hallway. I was only in the corner, and I'm sure there's like an aspect of RNG with where they look, but I'm just saying, I didn't die.
After confirming the ghost writing, that narrowed it down to 3, but since I didn't spot anything using the UV light on the book, that narrowed it down to 2, meaning the only thing left to test was the spirit box. So I tried to connect with the ghost a bit.
Can you hear me? Hello?
No response, which meant I was confident in my pick of Revenant. Will this be the test to prove the power of the Shungite?
Welcome back. Like for bed?
Yeah. Nah. No, I'm not talking about the awesome movie from the 80s, I'm talking about the stuff Big Crystal doesn't want you knowing.
There seem to be some pretty prevalent issues in the crystal industry, so I wanted to lay out what I found here so you can be more aware of them. This is an issue with the mining industry as a whole, but obviously it also bleeds into the crystal industry. Clearing out land for mining projects disrupts ecosystems and also really threatens biodiversity. They fully flatten areas to mine out stuff, and obviously that forces animals to relocate. And a lot of ecosystems can't really handle that kind of human interference. Mining processes can introduce really harmful chemicals into the environment, contaminating soil and water, and that's becoming a much bigger issue thanks to the absolute losers who want to continue expanding the AI industry. Side rant, this is so dumb on so many levels. They are investing so much money into expanding an industry that no one likes that also makes no money. Please just go watch Drew Gooden's video. You won't regret it. Exploitation of workers, community displacement, funding of conflicts. In some regions, profits from mineral extractions have been linked to funding conflicts.
So please, if you're someone who's at all interested in crystals, healing or whatnot, please try to find them ethically sourced. Well, there's my morality saved for the year. On to some more crazy tests. Powerlight. This thing offers me calming, memory, and patience. And when I hear that, one man comes to mind. Bob Ross. How much more calming can you get than Bob Ross? Actually, fun fact, Bob Ross used to be a ruthless military sergeant, and once he retired, he vowed to never yell again. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so I've got my crystal here, and I've also got one of these Wacom, that's how you say it, little drawing tablets here.
Here's how I plan to perform this test. Random image gives you, believe it or not, a random image. Giving myself about 1 second to memorize whatever image it gives me.
Okay, it was a cat.
I'll then give myself 10 minutes to try to recreate it from memory. Then compare the results. Here's how that went.
I spent the first 4 minutes attempting to sketch out best what I remembered. Then I switched strategies to a color exclusive drawing, which definitely helped. You know how in like mental wards, you got those psych patients that will draw like really problematic stuff? Just a thought I had. But I was still really struggling with the nose and mouth. I really couldn't remember what was happening from the eyes down. So I just had to commit to a very cartoony look and spent the last minute just adding some color detail to the fur. And this is what I was left with. There's the original, and there's what I made. Oh, that's why I didn't know what his nose looked like, because you couldn't see it. Astrology and healing crystals do pair well together. I made an astrology joke earlier in the video. There are people out there that will actively avoid you purely because you were born in March. I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like I have any authority in trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't believe. I just personally don't think astrology is all it's cracked up to be.
Funny story, actually. For my high school physics class, they took us on an excursion to a very cool place. And at the end, the tall guy, who was a physicist, gave us a very cool lecture on astronomy. And in that, he discussed 2 things very passionately. 1, why it's dumb to think that the Earth could be flat, and 2, where the concept of astrology comes from, and why he thinks it's dumb to attribute any personal factors to star constellations. So when we were getting back onto the bus, I thanked him, shook his hand, and said to him, "Great presentation, but I'm an Aquarius, so I believe the Earth is flat." My physics teacher found it hilarious, but he didn't. So that's how I got my first black eye.
In retrospect, I'm not surprised that during a physics lecture, I was thinking about a joke I could make. And for a quick bonus experiment, if you're someone who at all believes in astrology, try to guess my star sign. I'll give you a hint. I'm not really an Aquarius. Or is that something an Aquarius would say? Final test! Golden Healer Quartz is another one that I'm probably misinterpreting, as it claims to provide balancing, joy, and success. I'm focusing on balancing with this one. They likely mean in the emotional or spiritual or any other fancy way. But for this video, I'm taking that literally. I assume this crystal will help me balance better, much like those wristbands from back in the day. Hence, I'm giving myself a little balancing test to compare before and after.
First, using the wooden boards I have left over from the failed test, I constructed a platform that slowly thins out the further I go. I cannot touch grass at any point. After that, I need to cross the foam roller without falling over. And finally, a handstand. I really can't do a handstand. So if I could hold one for a millisecond, that's a win. Once I complete my futile attempt without my crystal, I'll then complete it again with my crystal. Then we'll see who's laughing. It'll probably be you.
First, the control test. Yeah, I crossed it successfully. Guess that's 1 point to the no crystal team. Now it's the foam roller test. Also crossed it. That makes 2 points for the no crystal team. Now the final test, a handstand.
I'm gonna try to do a handstand. And stop the timer. I'm gonna give myself one more go. Maybe like a second.
Yeah, that probably won't be too hard to beat. So I spent a couple minutes putting the crystal on, and now let's compare the results.
Easy work.
Yeah, I fell. Don't worry, there's still the foam roller. Okay, I got a little cocky and I tried to go back as well.
I tried to go back and forth. I think it probably did the same for that one.
Finally, the handstand. For this one, I think we need a side-by-side.
That's right. I was suspended longer in the air with the crystal than without. So I think right there proves the power of the golden healer quartz. And look how ecstatic I am to be the one to have figured that out.
Yeah, I think the tests were a little skewed to the wrong side. I was not expecting that at all when planning this video. I seriously thought the results would be identical, but I was not expecting the crystals to average worse. And once again, that might be the problem. I couldn't silence the skeptic in me. There was a nagging voice in the back of my head telling me this isn't going to work, which would argue my chakra might not be aligned. Or alternatively, the lack in belief didn't allow the placebo effect to even happen. I think I was using confirmation bias in the wrong way. I kept finding reasons for it not to work. But I said before that I had one more theory. There was something Brooke spoke about in the interview, which I think highlights the most important aspect out of everything I've talked about today.
How did you yourself get involved with healing crystals?
Okay, so long story short, I went through postnatal depression, so I basically hit rock bottom, and I didn't really know much about crystals. My husband actually bought me my first crystal, which was rose quartz. So for those of you that don't know, rose quartz is all about self-love and self-empowerment, unconditional universal love. So I then went on a holistic healing journey to rediscover myself and heal myself holistically with the use of the energy of crystals, as well as things like Reiki, shadow work, kinesiology, all of that kind of stuff.
Are you kidding? How could anyone listen to that and disagree with the impact that crystal had? I understand there's an argument for what caused it. Was it metaphysical energy or was it completely psychological? Does it matter? The end result is the same. She's now doing better, happier, more fulfilled because of crystals. Did I find any use for them personally? No. Does that mean they're useless? Not in the slightest. I spoke to many family and friends when preparing this video, and a lot of them had stories about some experience with healing crystals. So whatever theory may actually be true, It really doesn't matter. If you feel better, feel more confident, feel happier by having a healing crystal with you, have a healing crystal with you. If you think it's all fake, don't use them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect you. So don't waste your energy complaining about it. Well, I mean, I've got all 6 crystals here, so I guess there's only one thing left to do.